yeah, we had our opening day today. Went well. No injuries, no anything in the first one. That's always good. And I thought the guys flew around well. So I'll take any questions.
Who, when you come back after the summer, who did you really notice worked out hard in the summer? Who came back, very impressive in that regard?
Well, I tell you, our whole offensive line had a phenomenal summer, and they made all their running times on their conditioning test. They're tremendously amount stronger. All their maxes are like 9 to 10% higher than they were when we left in the spring. So they made really big jumps. And then skill-wise, I thought that all the guys came back. We had some other guys that Juju looks a lot better shape than he did coming in here last year in the spring, so he looked good out here today. Those are some guys that showed that. And then I've said that before, Keywan weighs 196 now, and he didn't lose any weight over summer. He gained 4 pounds. Strength, he made all his conditioning runs, so he keeps progressing too. So that's kind of the guys that really made it.
At media day, I heard you talk on the transfer issue about how less guys left. Do you know off the top of your head or what the numbers were in terms of how many you lost and how many you brought in? Or was it about the same, I think?
I couldn't tell you exactly right now, because if you count walk-on transfers and that type of thing, it kind of gets all kind of distorted. It's distorted a little bit. The main key on that is we didn't really we brought in some guys in January, and those are the guys that are doing the bulk of it. They're doing well there. And then we didn't really lose anybody in our top group in the spring transfer pool, which the year before we lost 9 guys, which made a big difference for us. So that's really good. And a lot of them, people, they're trying to talk to them and different things. And kids not doing it, so it was good.
Defensively, how do you go about creating more big plays, getting more interceptions, fumbles? What are you doing in practice? That's a hard thing to do because the other team's focusing on not turning the ball over. So what can you do, or anything new that you're doing in that regard to force turnovers?
One of the things that we're doing, we did it last year, but we're doing it a lot more, incorporating a lot of different drills, is just being able to catch the ball when it's near you as a DB or a linebacker, instead of tipping it, making sure we make the catch. So if you catch 3 or 4 of those that we dropped, that's a big difference. That's game changing in a couple games. The other thing is we're being more aggressive with our pass rush. Worked really hard at that, being able to get to the quarterback. So we're doing a lot more against our offensive line, which is helping our offensive line. I feel like that's helping our line. So those 2 things that we're working on. And trying to have more vision on the quarterback in different cases.
I'll ask one more and open it up. You mentioned the pass rush. Is that something that you can scheme your way into more sacks, or is that strictly about personnel? How do you create more of those?
Great question. You can scheme your way on certain downs. 3rd and longs, definitely passing downs. You can do a little bit of scheming there. The other side of it is, then on 1st and 2nd downs, play action pass, that's guys being more aggressive, getting off the block, playing the right technique, that type of thing, being a little bit more aggressive with the defensive line and the backers can help you on some first downs.
Coach, you've seen an interesting scenario with the running back room where you have both of your big-time returners last year along with the re-addition of flex. What have you seen from that group specifically that will help you plan for week 1 and who you want to play?
We've got good depth there. We feel like we definitely have 3 guys that are really good running backs, and so just being able to rotate them in. And then running backs get dinged up a little bit, so throughout the season we're going to need all of them, and there'll be different times that might not have all 3 healthy. We hope we do, but that gives you ability to always be able to rely a little bit on your running game for sure.
Coach, in the spring practices you had talked about the development and leadership of Keywan and how he's taken up that role. Now that we're in the fall, what have you seen from him and how that's changed?
Well, number one, this summer, we have the 8-week mandatory time they have to be here, and then we had a May time when they can volunteer to be here. Our O-line and D-line wanted to volunteer to be here, and Keywan heard they were going to be here, so he said, I'm volunteering to be here. So he was here the entire summer and made one of our top lifters for the summer. So just that shows you his leadership right there. He's feeling better with the offense and understanding a lot of things better. Made some nice throws out there today.
Talking a bit more about week 1, I'm just curious how much film you and the guys have seen of Indiana. Obviously something of a blank slate there, a lot of new people, a lot of new coaching staff there. It's just what have you seen from them?
Well, in the summer, we always take the first 3 games and break them down. And because as you get to the 4th and 5th game, you have more games on the teams and that type of thing. So we've broken them down. Of course, we looked a lot at James Madison because basically their whole staff went there.
Yeah.
About 8 of their players went there. So we've kind of looked at that a little bit. And, they're a good football team. Coach is an excellent coach. So we've looked at that just like they've looked at our stuff. But we don't worry about those guys at all right now. We're just trying to get ourselves better. We won't think about them until we get ready for game week later on.
First day with the in-helmet communication.
Yeah.
How do you see that impacting the season, offense and defense?
Well, I don't know yet. To be honest with you, I really don't. The college game is so much different than the pro game. They huddle so much more. They do some things there. You're going to have to see what teams that don't huddle do with it. I think they're still going to signal and just talk to the quarterback, and he'll talk to the other line, I believe. And then we'll see how it manages the game. If quarterbacks are checking more because the guy can talk to them about it. Defenses can check more too because they're able to talk to them until the last 15 seconds. So I think it'll be a evaluation process as the season goes along and see how different people use it and how it works.
Especially for our football team, how do you see Coach Yost using it with Kiwan? We already had plenty of those check with knees and stuff like that, but now that can take it to another level.
Yeah, like we're using it in practice every day, so they get used to it. I was telling the coaches sometimes, not sometimes, but basically all the time, too much talking to the player is not good. So trying to get the play across and giving them, a little piece of information here or there will be big. And as they game plan all week, now he can kind of reiterate some of those buzzwords that he might not be thinking about while he's calling the play. Remember, when we're calling this play, be aware of corner blitz. They're on the right hash. That type of thing. We're on the right hash now, because their mind's going everywhere. The little tidbits like that. And so I think those are just the communication process. Us doing it all the time in practice will help us work out through a lot of kinks also.
One other new rule, the on-field coaches limit is gone. Do you see anybody coming down onto the field or anybody putting on a headset for us that hadn't before?
Well, our quality control guys that couldn't be on the field before, they're on the field helping at different positions and doing different things. We're still going over exactly how we want to do it on game day. We'll have 3 scrimmages before we play the game where we'll actually do it in the stadium and do different ways of handling how we'll do it on game day. So there might be a couple tweaks here and there for that, and depending on how we feel like it works out the best. So we'll do a couple different scenarios so we're perfectly ready for the first game.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
And Coach,
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach.
To follow up on that, so with the communication with the helmets that hadn't been used before,
Yes.
What spurred that rule change?
Well, it's been a big. I think one of the things that spurred it was all the quote stealing signs and everything. I think that really spurred it on faster. It's something they've talked about continually. But the college game is, as you know, is so much different than the pro game and the speed and the huddles and playing fast and doing quick signals and one word calls on a lot of situations that you have. So it'd be interesting to see because the teams most teams in college football, not most, but a lot of teams in college football are snapping the ball way before the 15-second cutoff. So that enables them to talk to the quarterback or the whole time if they do it that way. So it's going to be interesting if some teams decide to make calls after the 15 seconds goes off, so they can't talk to the quarterback and you can't talk to the defense. There's going to be all kind of different thoughts, or they're going to still just keep playing the way they played and then just talk to the quarterback, let him know, and he can talk to the line and then signal to everybody else. Or defensively, if a team's going fast, it's hard just to tell the Mike linebacker and he's got to tell everybody on the field and they're already lined up, spread out across sideline to sideline. You're going to have to be able to signal them too. So I think that it's just an evolving process we're going to have to watch. One of the things they talked about, and I get it, is we had talked about maybe trying to put more than just one out there with it, maybe 3 or 4. Well, it's really hard for the officials to police the game, run the game, call the game, and then count, okay, there's only 4 green dots out here. Well, they can tell if there's 1 green dot. Eventually the game might go to be everybody wears one on the entire team. And then that way you don't have to worry about it, and there's no signals. Don't ever have to worry about stealing signals. There never will be, you just tell everybody. I don't know if it'll get to that or not. But really, I think it has to be one or all.
Right now it's one.
Yeah.
And then another follow up. You said You sound like you didn't want to overload the players with information. Is that what you just get the play, not give them too much?
Yeah, I think all of us have played sports, right? Before you want to hear what it is, and then you got to kind of relax your mind. You got to be able to think and see. And a lot of times, as we well know, you can overanalyze and paralyze yourself, right? So I think there's a fine line there that we're going to work through, and then as we talk to, like, Keem want to go back today, and the quarterbacks go back today and talk to Coach Yost. How was that? What did you hear? What do you do? And then we also have to be able to understand the bits and pieces of code words that we can give the quarterback or give a linebacker on defense for certain things to look at. If there's high tendencies when certain personnel are in the game or certain down situations are in the game, and I think some of those things would help.
And one last thing, we're going to talk to your new center today. Can you just go over who's, at least at this point, the running with the ones left to right on the line?
Great question, but we really don't know.
Okay.
We'll have a different mixture in there tomorrow.
Okay.
And then just kind of keep working guys around, same way with the defensive line.
All right.
And then we'll know that about for the first game there, but there'll be a lot of get together. So you want to get different guys with the quarterbacks, as they're all playing different spots. You want to get different centers with them, because when we go under center, when we're snapping it, they kind of get used to the rhythmic of the snap count. The different quarterbacks have we try to keep it all the same, but they're a little bit different. So we try to move the different centers around and do that also.
Coach, since we're on the topic of new rule changes, the 2-minute warning's been added. Do you like the decision to bring it to college, and how much of an impact do you think it'll be?
Well, when they first talked about it, everybody was complaining, they're just trying to get more commercials. That's not true. They're trying to make sure there's not a bunch of commercials at the end of the game.
Okay.
And then a lot of our rules changed right at the 2-minute mark. The clock was run, all the different things there, going out of bounds, all those situations changed in 2 minutes. So it's kind of a reset button. Mm-hmm. The thing that I didn't realize is all the time has changed for you drastically. Mm-hmm. Because it used to get to a point where at 2 minute, if the other team didn't have a timeout and it was certain down distance, you could almost fit. Now the 2 minute counts as a timeout. People are going to get the ball back.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot more finishes, and then you need to think about things like, I'll give you a great example. Let's say you're punting. Okay, and you want the other team. You're behind, so you want to use the 2 minute. Mm-hmm. You're going to run your punt team out there fast now, punt it before the 2 minutes, so they got to take a play before the 2 minute. Now you use a timeout. If you let it go down lower and go past the 2 minute, then you take a 2 minute. Now the clock can run out. There's a lot of different scenarios at the end of halves that people aren't thinking. They go, why are they running the punt team out so fast? What are they doing this for? Why are they kicking the field goal so fast? What are they? Why are they doing? A lot of different things have changed now.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of more thought process into it that games can. There's a lot more close games in pro football. Now the teams are a lot more even, of course, the way the draft is. But that 2 minute, that area there, I think that'll cause more classic finishes in college football this year than there has been, because of that extra quote 2 minute timeout you're going to get. So really, in a half, if you use it right, you got 4 timeouts. You don't have 3.
So guys, awesome.
Thank you. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.